fam? It's Dark Angel's Journey. OMG. It is early in the morning and I could not sleep. My brain was like, must learn more. And I sat through one of ICT's Twitter spaces last night and he was like, basically, if you don't put in the work, you're not going to get where you need to go. And I am here to put the work in because I need to get to where I've envisioned, you know? And we're in this annoying space of must learn to be able to be good. It's like when you start a new job and you feel inadequate because you just started and you don't know anything about the company and the ins and the outs. And there's that like transition period, right? So welcome. We are in that transition period. But anyway, so I was literally sleeping. I couldn't sleep. I was dreaming about what he said about the little snippets that he drops up on Twitter, like the 2 minute snippets about the trade that he took and the fact that they're there for us to study and learn, right? Oh, and check it out. Kitty wants attention. Let's see, can we pan around so you can see Kitty? Can we see Kitty? Kitty, hmm? Kitty wants to hang out. Hi, Kitty. There's Kitty. Who's Kitty? Who's the cutest kitty ever? Isn't that fun? All right, well, this isn't a cat section, but I thought I'd give you a view of his cuteness. This thing next to me being super adorbsies. I think he wants to literally come over here. He has never done this stuff before. Wow. This last week he's been doing this a lot. Aren't you, buddy? Yes, you are. Who gets the wub wubs? Anyway, sorry. You get to enjoy all of the randomness. So he's a little sad, salty because he's not had any food since 9 p.m. last night. He's gonna get his teeth cleaned this morning. Anyway, that's not why we're here. Kitty tail. Kitty tail. All right. So I figured I will do create a new section of for my page where I literally go through, take a look at what he's doing in these shorts and try and understand what he's doing and like re-annotate as he's annotating. So I'm gonna be like looking at his YouTube um thing or looking at the Twitter. YouTube I can show, the Twitter will be on another window. And sorry, I am like sleep face. And just try and understand because yesterday I was looking at a similar tree and I had it set up, but I didn't have it annotated and I need to annotate it for my journals. That was like 3 minutes of a whole spiel. But anyway, so I'm going to be creating a new section where I'm analyzing the ICT shorts so I can understand why he made the entries he did or made the adjustments he did so I can start to like really focus on it. And it's kind of like homework, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, that sounds like a good time. Let's get it. Let's get all right, cool, 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 cool. So, yesterday, and man, work's been insane. So yesterday he dropped this one, and he's like, when I have to pull out the heavy artillery. So in the space, he was like, man, it was really hard to trade it yesterday because it's like molasses. So this trade started around after the 1:30 time frame, and this is on the 1 minute. So we're going to replicate all of this. So prior to all of that, I had a few things annotated on my thing. So he'd mentioned um, 40/30 as a level. Technically, it was 40/30, 40. It was that as like buy side liquidity. But given the time, so that came, they saw, they took it out. Beautiful. And that was in the morning. Now we're looking at the afternoon trades, right? So usually what he says is like after 1:30, right? We see if they take out the lows after 1:30 and then we can start to do something with it, right? So he was on the 1 minute. So wait, hold on. So if that's the case, then we'll adjust. So we have buy side up here and we had sell side down here to mess with. Actually, we had both of these. That guy, and then I think I had annotated 39. Yeah, there we go. And this guy. So I think let's use the lower of the two. Okay. So, and let's switch that up to buy side. And let's make that a little smaller. Thanks. Sell side and make that smaller. Okay. So, and I'm going to be going back and forth, right, while we do this. So look at the 1 minute. So he was here when he was thinking about his thing. So in my mind, I was looking at it and I had like a break here. I didn't save it, so I need to do that, right? So we had this break here. So we were expecting price to come back into this general vicinity and then come down into this. We could take out this guy right here because we've got that formed. Now, a couple of things we could have done. Drop our fib, wait for it to come back into this, the OTE area, which is right in here for me, and then take it down. So, looks, and then we have like this, if we're gonna look at it, zoom in, right? And I'm gonna make some assumptions first, right? Like, so we had like one, two bearish order blocks right here, right here. So you pick the bigger of the two, and the top of that. Wow, that would have been spot on. Do you see it? Isn't that crazy? All right, well, let's see what he was. Oops, not that one. Okay. So then his entry was right on the top of there, right? So let's move this forward a smidge. So he was looking sell side partial on the base of, that was the fourth, just under 4,008. So let's take a look here. So, okay, so he was looking at partials right around here. Okay. Well, we're looking at entries. So partials right around here. Nice. Okay, so let's annotate that. And let's say take profit partials. One. And I'd like that to not be so, let's make it green for so all right. So he was, well, I mean, it is sell side liquidity, so yep. It's from his entry. So let me think, right? So like I said, if you were looking at this, the bigger of the two order blocks before this dropped, you could also have been looking at this order block. So we would have been looking at an entry like right here. That's what I think he was doing, right there. So let me draw that over in time. We use this. So I like to use the top of the order block. And let's annotate that as well. And bearish OB. Okay. And I'll just note the whole, because that whole green candle right there is the order block, but like this would be the entry right here. So let me also drop this as an entry. But I'm wondering if this one was the one he was talking about, because look how spot on his entry was. Right on the top. See it? Looks like he was using the, let me just make sure, because I would have picked this entry and had like that tiny amount of drawdown. But he got it right on the top. Flat green candle. Unless I'm just losing my mind. It's at 40.19. Oh, he entered here. Ooh, let me make sure. It looks like that, doesn't it? Yeah, this red. Okay, let's move it forward a little bit so we know what the hell we're doing. So that's the shift. He had the entry from this, looks like this candle right there. So that one. So I'm right about where. So yeah, that guy. Am I on the right contract? Yeah, March. Well, I'm doing the micros, so the micro might look a little bit different, but yeah. So the basic entry was right there. So let me grab. So he took his entry right there. So, okay, so he took it from that order block on the top right there. Interesting. Nice, nice. Boom. Yep. Okay. And the market starts to shift. Then he had his sell side liquidity for his partial there at around 4,007. So let's add let's drop something down here with the price so I can see it. The price label. Okay, so that's 4,850 price for the partials. And let's, you know, let's make sure we know. So sell side liquidity. So if I had like multiple contracts, then I could take some off here. That would have happened right there. Okay. So then what else we got? This looks like he added more when it came back up again. And then a new order block formed on this green candle, I think. Hold on, let's see. All right, so yeah, so there's a new order block here. Let's move this forward slowly. I'm gonna dissect the heck out of this. I hope you guys don't mind. Want to see it act as resistance. Why? Okay, so yeah, an order block on this candle. So this candle became an order block. Let's draw that out. And let's add a little something something. Order block. And let's change the color of that. And let's toggle this to the right. And for realsies, I mean, I'm literally going to just be doing this stuff. So this green candle became an order block. And yeah, so it means like you could have taken an entry off of this candle as well. Let's see. So he took another entry there and another one up there. Okay. Then he wants to see this fair value gap. Okay. Right here. Put a little text in here. Now, why would he want to see that as resistance if we want it to come down, you know? That's an interesting thought. So he wants to see this as resistance. What, when price comes back up to retrace? I mean, this is the one I would think that would do that, right? Okay, so he wants to see that resistance. Extremely high complex model being used here. Buy side will be allowed to remain here. Okay, so buy side will be allowed to remain here. Let's make a note. So I assume that's because we've had a break and they shouldn't be taking this out at all now. If we're going down, right? We have this break, so we should be expecting it to drop. Okay. All right. And then extremely high complex model being used here. Well, I'm gonna add that note in too because I'm trying to understand what that model, the super highly complex model is. So let's get our annotations here. Let's drop this. Extremely high complex model being used here. Okay. I mean, if I'm gonna be super simplistic, I would have just thought, you know, we've come up after a bit of a run. We consolidated, we broke, we made ourselves a nice new, bearish order block. And with an imbalance, we came back up into it and we came back down. So I'm not sure why it's so complicated, but I might be oversimplifying, honestly. We just never know. Okay, so then he enters a couple more times, this order block, and he said buy side will be whatever. So let's move this forward a bit more. Time distortion underway here. This time eventually drops. Okay. Just focus down. His PC was going. No respect for longs here. Okay, so he made another order here. Why did he draw that? Oh, okay, so they're coming into this area here. He's thinking drop and coming from this location once it punches through that. But if it acts as resistance, then it would be going back up, right? He takes another short from here. And he's thinking it drops in, a drop is incoming. We get another order block here, so the drop did come. And then we had, let's pull that over to the right. Wow, that order block worked like gangbusters, this first one. And then we had these guys, so we could have entered right there too. Same scenario, consolidation in that general space. Okay. Okay. So folks, focus down here. Okay. So I'm focused right here. All right. Okay. So the drop came in. Okay. Then we turned around. Well, it hit a fair value gap right here. That's what it did. So let me just mark that out just so I can watch it. So it took in this fair value gap right here and then it rallied back up. Sometimes they can do that. Like whenever they hit if you notice the way they behave, see, they took this gap, turned around, took this gap, turned around, came to this gap, went back up, took this gap, went back up, got to this gap, went back up. Isn't that fascinating? Like every time they come to a gap, they sell off from that general vicinity. So I guess let me make myself like a note around that. Notice the behavior. I'm sure there's a U in there. Yeah, around FEGs. The price tends to reverse at these locations. Run additional back tests for this theory. Okay, so let me make that And let's make that red. Okay. This is for my archives. Take some water. Okay. So it got to this fair value gap, and then it decided to turn around. The expectation would have been that it wouldn't have gone to. Oh, I see. He wanted to act as resistance once price got back up to it. Oh, dude was thinking like 10 miles ahead, yo. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. Okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. Because he wants once price comes down and it comes back up into this general space, he wants it to act as resistance. It didn't. That one did. So we pretty much came back into or right. So he was buying some more contracts as it went down. Okay. And then we turned. All right. Okay. So then he marked out this fair value gap. So let me just plot that thing over. And let's do that. Okay, so we have our fair value gap. It came up to it, ate it, and sold off from it. Any comments about that? Okay, resistance to Kiosk smart money short into the 47, 40. Okay, so okay, so this is where he wants it to be the resistance. I'm going to pull that over. Resistance to Kiosk smart money short into the 4007, sell side liquidity. All right, so let's pull this way. So let's draw that out in time. Let's add that line item just so we can have that note. So he said this was resistance to key off smart money short down to 4007 sell side below. Okay. Let's plop that into this general vicinity. Not bad. Okay. All right. And then what do we have here? It's like another potential area for a partial, right? So let's continue. Okay, short-term bounce, fake low. Ah, interesting. Let me drop a note there. I like that. Short-term bounce. So he's calling it a fake low. All right, I see you. All right. All right. It's interesting how he's able to determine that, like, experience really is a thing, right? Another fake bull flag. Oh yeah, it was forming one of those things, bull flags. Eh, will I care too much about those things anymore? Okay, don't you just love it when you know your own baby? All right, so then he bought some more at that order block right there. All right, focus. Trust me. Leave some unfilled here. Okay, so leave some unfilled. Let's see. They did come back. They did come back to fill it. When it came, yeah, they came back and filled it. Because there's definitely right there, FEG right there that they came back up to. But again, when we think about um what we've been seeing with these things, they came, they touched it, they ran off again, right? Yeah. Leave some unfilled here. I would expect the price to not go past that point once we start breaking down at this. Okay. It should free fall now. IOFED. I don't know what that is. So when it is, let's see, like right here, he called it an IOFED. What is that? I need to go look that up. Let's draw that out. IOFED. If you guys know what that is, please, for the love of everything, drop it in the comments and let me know. Because I sure as crap don't know what that is. Okay. IOFED. 1, 2, 3. They're almost equals. Not general vicinity. I guess the candle hadn't finished painting when he put that in there. IO Fed, he bought some more. Reprice under. It will speed up under this swing and reach into the sell side liquidity. Okay. We'll speed up under this swing and reach into the sell side liquidity. It's under this swing right here. I'm annotating everything. Speed up. Swing into sell side liquidity. Right, kitty? No, did it? Based off of... Actually, I'll change the color. That's too light. Let's go yellow. It's quite bright in my face. Okay, so he was saying right under here it would speed up. And it didn't. It was kind of choppy for a bit, and it came back up a few times to tap the base of this thing. And then it dropped. So eventually it did. So let's see what he says. I need to figure out what this IO Fed thing. Becoming very sloppy. IO Fed breaks, then it will be closed. Okay, what is an IO Fed? So IO Fed is up here, then it breaks. This is sloppy. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, he wanted it to do something. Let's just make a note. Became sloppy here. Because this is where he was expecting it, and then it became sloppy right here. So let's keep that orange right under there. And then IO Fed breaks. Okay, then we had another low. All right, so that's the PM last hour macro incoming. Sharp run into sell side is what you will see. Okay. Last premium array needs to drop here. Was there a let's see, where was he in the price? Right there. So right around here. Do we have a thing? Wick. Didn't do it. Okay. It's the final act for the sell stops here. I love it. He's probably singing like, it's the final countdown. You know what I mean? And then he's expecting speed incoming. It's supposed to drop. I don't think it did that though. It's still very sloppy. Risking the stop loss. 1900 is still fine. Oh, in terms of his monies, yep. Trading in this stuff is not easy, LOL. Okay. I'm trusting my logical liquidity on Oh, he moved his stop above this area here. Yeah. So it's the entry. So let me pull that out in time. So actual entry was all the way up here. So let me just drop that entry and let's not make that too egregiously in the way. Then he's got a stop loss right about there. And let's make that. And full take profits, I do believe, was down here somewhere. If I'm looking at it. Okay. Very sloppy. But I mean, 1900 is better than nothing, right? Risk is still. Okay. I'm trusting my logic and liquidity on the close. Down. If you were long and you had your stop under this low, would you feel safe? No. Right. Targets for partials to come off. Okay, so he took some partials right there. Okay. Bye, 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 bye. It looks like he took everything off at that point. Okay. So, all right, most of that made some kind of sense to me. The only thing I don't understand this IO Fed business right here. I think it's supposed to be right there, and then it broke. And then this is sloppy because he wanted it to drop right here, and it didn't. Let me make that note. It didn't drop cleanly. It's very choppy. Okay. But, I mean, I do believe that the actual sell side that we're looking for from a, if I look to the left, for take profit, let's drop that like a final take profit actually came in the 6 o'clock session. So like that actually like happened once it I realized that there's like a 1 hour break in between. Isn't that crazy? Let's see. There you have it. Boom, right there. But you would have had to wait an hour to see if it was going to work out. And honestly, once once this thing got taken, the first partials, I don't know. Let's see. As a newbie, I probably would have held it that long, right? From this entry all the way down to this take profit right here with a very, I would have moved my stop loss to right above here once it started moving down. This would have been 43 ticks, 3 tick stop loss, not bad. If you're waiting for this guy, that would have, let's see, we would have not made it there until later. What time was that? 6. When 6 o'clock came, 66 ticks. It all depends on what you want on that trade. But yeah, so I need to figure out what this IO Fed is. So I'm gonna Google it. I probably haven't made it to beautiful bread and butter with IO Fed in London, ICT IO Fed shorts, ah, the Inner Circle 2022 mentorship episode 12. Hmm. I am woman trader on Twitter, abbreviations. Let's see. Let's no, go away. Come on now. I don't know. Can you guys see it? My eyes don't see it. One shot kill, round numbers, buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. Yeah, I need to work out those things too. Well, isn't that fun? Freaking IOFed's not in that grouping. Maybe there's a bigger screenshot. But this is good to know. Let's do a search. IOFed does not exist in this thing. Um, Somebody else's notes. Fine, IOFed. Okay. So I'm probably gonna have to watch this episode 12 again. I must have missed it when I made my notes. Hmm. Okay, we'll come back to that. In the meantime, let's save this. Okay, I'm saving it really quickly. I'm adding it to my journal really quickly here. So let's do a save as. Save as. January. So this is it's 117. ICT entry uh, notes choppy markets. All right, great. Cool. Now, what can I learn from this exactly? So we took the partials here and note the behavior around the FEG. Price tends to reverse these. That's resistance to key off. Smart money short down to 4,007. So this is the resistance that he wanted to key off. This is the one that actually worked with. And then of course they came to this, what looks like a fair value gap that didn't, yeah, it's right there. There, I don't know why it didn't show up in here, but whatever. And they came back and tapped it again. But actually, what do? They tapped this or the base of this order block once, twice, three times actually, and then dropped. Interesting. These equal highs right here would have made me a little nervous, but we're falling, right? So, oh, okay. So let's see. Let's think about this fair value gap business, right? So, just for funsies, as we're just looking through the way price behaves around it, sometimes they'll punch through like this one right here. But that's a little different because, price had already been making a bit of an upswing, right? And then it made itself to a nice crescendo and then made a short-term high and then another longer-term high, then made itself a little fair value gap right here. Nice break. and never bothered to come back up into this guy. It's just sometimes it just doesn't. I guess it'll eventually go back up there, I assume. And then it just punched through all of this. Now, in terms of an actual entry, right? So these guys would have been like bullish order blocks, which would have basically turned them into like breaker blocks, right? Because look at this one. Look how perfectly, if you'd said like an order right there, now that it's broken and we haven't retraced back up, could have used that breaker block or entered from the base of that or that one once it came back up. And then you could have written it down to, you know, that guy or that guy. Actually, didn't quite make it there, but interesting. So it doesn't do it all the time, but like when Christ is moving in some sort of a normal space, then it should. All right, I think I will pause at this one, the first of these ones where I'm just trying to understand price movement. Because in my mind, um, price came and ate this right here. And then once it started consolidating and once it gave this break, I would have just been looking at these green candles for an entry. And then he says, like, in terms of the order blocks, you want to pick like the bigger ones. So, like, this guy right here would have been a perfect one for entry. Look how spot on that would have been. And then stop loss up here. And then I would have been aiming for under here because I am cheap. So with an entry from the top of that order block, that would have been filled just muy perfecto up there and then drop it down here. A little few ticks underneath it. That would have been 50. Nice and easy. Not bad. So the rest of all this other stuff, I don't know if it's his way of reading whether price is going to continue going in the direction that you want. This would have scared me because it would have come back pretty closely to my entry. I probably would have moved my stop pretty close to this area anyway, so it would have been a really small. I would have been stopped out. It would have been really small, but still, it never went back up to it. But I like this idea, like short-term bounce, fake low. And I would have expected, honestly, like once it hit this guy, for it to turn around. I don't know. I wouldn't have thought of this one specifically for myself. I would have been looking at this one. Um, but I see how it became, could we sort of consolidated inside of it for a bit? Tiny bit. Not now. Okay, but no. And then this one is the one I think actually became like the actual resistance, right? Because Price came back up into this general vicinity, which is another one as far as I'm concerned. And then it did its thing, and then it dropped, and it tapped it a couple of times, and then finally did the sell off. So I would have thought of it a lot more simply than this, but I'm literally here to learn, so I'll take whatever he's willing to give me and try and make it my own. Okay, so I'm gonna be doing this each day, at least, or try to do this each day, especially when I can't sleep. I need to figure out this IOFED though. Is this like an institution order? I don't know. I'll find it. All right. It is 6 a.m., so we've been doing it's about 44 minutes. That's good enough for now. I'm gonna continue on without making a vid, but this is all fascinating. In about an hour 15, I'm gonna take Kitty to the vet. Get his teeth cleaned. Because his breath is kicking. It's pretty bad. All right. Happy hunting. Be safe. And I'm gonna go hunting for what IOFED means. All right. Drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on these styles of videos where I'm trying to just understand what he's doing and then make my own thoughts on what I would have done because, you know, I probably would have just entered and just let it ride and just had to wait. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Simple. All right. That's all for now. Shakira out.